Hello,
The
everyone.
event is
My name is
live.
Larry Green, and I wanted to welcome everybody to our next online panel discussion today. I'm really excited to have our friends from Facebook here, as well as Google, as well as all of our other friends and those who are out there in the internet land. So, just a quick background on our group. We are a collection of people who work in tech who have a common interest in plant-based eating. And this year, we've done a few online discussion panels to really explore the different areas around plant-based eating. And today is another session in our continuation of that. This time, it's going to be a panel discussion, but it's going to be a little bit different this time. It's going to be very interactive. We have 6 different chefs that are going to be preparing different dishes, and it's going to be a really fun time to really get to know them as well as what they're going to be making for us. Also, I wanted to say a special hello and thanks to my partner, Sarah. She's going to be helping me out on the backstage side just with questions. Those of you who are watching, you can drop live questions in the chat, and Sarah will help me get them out to the different chefs so we can have a great discussion there. And so from there, I wanted to just set up our time. So as we all know, this time of the year is the holidays. And based on your culture or religion or traditions, there are a variety of different things to celebrate as we close out this year. But regardless of your culture, religion, or tradition, the main idea when it comes to the holidays is for people to come together to encourage each other, to reflect on different things of the past year, to celebrate whatever is happening in your culture or religion. That's mainly the idea. And then with that, people typically come together around food. And so with that, with the holidays, it's a special time that we all look forward to. Now, here comes 2020. And so when it comes to physically getting together, in this year, that's actually not a good idea because of the coronavirus. But we can still socially be connected while remaining physically distant to stay safe. And that's actually what we're going to be doing today with our format. We're going to be having these different chefs come on board, cooking different things, sharing more about themselves. We're going to be doing it in a safe way because we're all spread out. We're actually in different parts all over the country with this. But it's a great chance to connect with each other while staying physically safe as we celebrate the holidays. So from here, here's how we're going to be doing today. In a moment, I'm going to introduce our different chefs, share a quick thing about themselves, as well as what they're going to be preparing. And then from that, they're going to start preparing. They're going to be cooking what they're going to be making. And then from there, I'm actually going to float between the different chefs, asking questions about themselves, as well as what they're going to be making, and just to understand a little bit more about what they're doing. And then also, all of you who are out there, you can be a part of the conversation too. Again, you can drop in questions in the chat, live questions, and Sarah will help me get those questions out to the team. And then also too, and Sarah's going to put this in the chat here, we will have the recipes available for everybody to see and follow along with. And also with those recipes, there's a couple of pages on each person's bio, so you can get to know them better as well. All right, so with that, I'm going to go ahead and pass it to our chefs. I'll introduce, we'll actually go with Margo first. So Margo, go ahead and introduce yourself.
Hello, everyone. Happy holidays. My name is Margo. I work for Bon Appetit at Google in the Seattle area. I am one of the teaching kitchen chefs, which basically means that we teach cooking classes to Googlers. So normally that's done in office. Obviously now that's all done digitally. So we're doing live cooking classes and things like that from our home. And today I'm going to be doing a pretty fun kind of take on almost like bread and butter that you might often have at the holidays. They're going to be sage and scallion pancakes with a roasted carrot and miso dip. So I'll show you that as we go along.
Oh, excellent. Next we'll go to Dede.
Hi everyone, welcome. Thank you, Larry, for having us today. I am Dede. I sit in the Bay Area, specifically in Sunnyvale. I work with Chef Margo on a daily and weekly basis, also Bon Appetit at Google, and super excited to work through a roasted harissa, cauliflower, and chickpea dish today with a pomegranate and herb gremolata. So super excited to be here. Thanks, Larry.
Excellent. Thanks. Next, we'll go to Seth, and then Anthony will be after Seth. Go ahead, Seth.
Hey everyone, Seth Tibbott here. I'm the founder of Tofurky. This is our 40th year in business and the 25th year for Tofurky. We've just sold our 6 millionth Tofurky roast this year, so we're pretty happy about that. I'm going to be cooking 2 of our roasts today. I'm going to try and cook the new ham roast in a Hasselback format, which is usually used for potatoes, but it's a fun way and a festive way to celebrate the holidays. And then I'm going to go to the old standard Tofurky roast that is stuffed with wild rice stuffing. And this has never been done before. I'm going to try and cook both of these in 90 minutes, but the whole reason of Tofurky developing was to make a roast that was quick, tasty, and convenient, and bomb-proof for the people that were making a plant-based meal for the holidays. And that's what we've succeeded to do, and that's what I'm going to try and do right here. So thanks for having me. I'm going to get to work.
Cool. Thanks, Seth. All right, Anthony's next, and then Eddie will be after Anthony. Go ahead.
Hi, everybody. Anthony Moraes, New York City area chef for Facebook. Also opened the first completely plant-based cafe in Facebook world. What I'm going to be doing for you today is cooking a root vegetable gratin. It's going to be a really nice variety of vegetables, a little smoky, a little crunchy, and very tasty. And I just want to say happy holidays. I'm going to do this from my home, so welcome to my home.
Excellent. Go with Eddie, and then Antoinette will close us out. Go ahead, Eddie.
Thanks so much, Larry. Happy holidays, everyone. I'm really excited to be here with you all today. I'm a plant-based chef and program manager of food and nutrition for the Humane Society of the United States, and also an ambassador for Latin America for 80/20 Plants. And today I'm going to be showing you how to make dessert tamales. This is tamal season for people with Mexican backgrounds like myself. And this recipe is one that goes back way, way, way back to one of the very first dessert tamales I made with my grandmother. So I'm excited to share with you all. Thanks again, Larry.
Excellent. Yeah, tamales. I'm very curious about that, as well as the other dishes here. A bunch of good questions and curiosities I have. And then last but not least, we got Antoinette. And Antoinette, I think you're on mute.
You're on.
Hey Larry, hey Sarah, thank you both
Here we
for
go.
joining me. So thrilled to be here with you guys, and that Google and Facebook are introducing and exploring plant-based with everybody. It's amazing. I'm doing a charcuterie board today. So I've got all like different cheeses and meats. We've got this new pate that is gonna be released soon. It hasn't been released yet, but it's treasure stove. And I just want to say that when my introduction to veganism was through a friend of mine, and when I was just slowly getting introduced by going to different plant-based restaurants, and it was only one veggie at a time that got me there.
Got it. Excellent. Excellent. Cool. All right. So what we'll do now, we'll go ahead and transition. So everybody, all of our chefs, you can go ahead and start to prepare. Go ahead and do your thing. Yeah, this is great here. And then again, as a quick reminder to everybody that's out there, you can go ahead and put your questions in the chat. I do have some early questions here, but again, the thinking is plant-based eating. As some of you know from our earlier panel discussions from earlier this year, I'm still new on my personal plant-based journey. I've been plant-based eating now for roughly 2 years, and how I came into it was mainly for performance reasons. I'm a former college athlete, college basketball player, and since my college days, which was a long time ago, I actually played ball in the 1990s. But since then, just tried to stay healthy, health and fitness, wellness, things like that. And so from there, a couple years ago, I was doing this cardio routine on this cardio machine called the Versaclimber. And the Versaclimber, in my opinion, is the world's greatest cardio machine. I was doing this extended workout on it. Almost got to my goal, then I ran out of gas. It was kind of a tough situation for me to be able to almost meet your goal. And then about a month or so later, I found out about the documentary, The Game Changers. Game Changers is all about plant-based eating, largely from a sports and performance point of view. And so I decided to adopt that practice. And so that, in conjunction with my cardio goal on the Versaclimber, I wanted to try to hit my goal again. And so I shifted to a plant-based diet, continued my training, and then a few months later, I was able to do this extended workout on the Versaclimber, and it's basically climbing 10,000 feet without stopping, and that's a big workout. But the neat thing was for me is that I was able to accomplish it and still have energy for the rest of the day. And actually, I did another workout later that day, and the next day I was pretty much recovered. And so for me, I was sold. Plant-based eating was a big deal. There are a ton of health and nutrition benefits that come from that. And so that's just a quick snapshot of my journey when it comes to plant-based eating. I know many of us have different journeys when it comes to plant-based eating for different reasons, specific to themselves or for bigger reasons, for sustainability reasons, economic reasons. There's a bunch of reasons to adopt this type of diet. And so with that, it's been really fun to learn a lot here. And as I'm hosting this time here, I'm actually learning as well. I know some of you may have gotten a chance to see my video. For Thanksgiving, I created this vegan casserole. And Sarah can put the video in the chat. But it's one of my adaptations because it was originally a tuna casserole that my parents used to make a number of years ago. And I swapped out a few things and made it a vegan version. So I'm here learning like everybody else. All right, so we actually have, so the link to the recipes, I think we've dropped that in the chat so people can keep referencing that. And then, so actually we got one question here. We're actually going to go to live questions as well as some of the questions that I have from learning from your bios. And actually, Anthony, this one is for you. It's about the first plant-based cafe. So the question is this, Anthony. What is it like opening the first plant-based cafe at Facebook?
For me, it was very exciting. It's something that I'm very passionate about. And I felt like all of my years of training and all the restaurants I've worked in, all the schools I've taught at, just to be able to apply the experience and knowledge focused solely on creating beautiful dishes made completely out of plants. It's just kind of like a dream come true. It's like handing me my dream kitchen, so it was open up to much success and still thriving. Wasn't before COVID hit and we had to close the office, but very exciting. And I'm super excited to get back.
Yeah, excellent. And actually one follow-on question, Anthony, with that, and it's a similar question for Margo and Dede as well. And I'll pull you in a second. In tech, people are working from home now or working from wherever. They're not working at the office. And so I'm curious as to, has Facebook done anything to support employees in that way since things are different now?
Absolutely. We have a ton of programming in place where chefs from around the world are creating videos and on various cooking techniques and everything to do that you could think of that would come from a culinary team, from a global culinary team. Those videos have been also very widely used and commented on and watched, and it's great to see all the comments coming back on people that watch us cooking something and give it a go at home, and then get to share the results, and they're hopefully happy.
Yeah, cool. And actually, Margo and Dede, we'll get you involved in this one. On the Google side, I work at Google, and so amazing food program that we have there. But curious to know what Google has done in terms of supporting employees since everybody's not at the office now.
Yeah, absolutely. So when we went shelter in place in the Bay Area in March, we started to fully support the Google workforce at home. Chef Margo and I are part of a 12-person flagship teaching kitchen team around the globe. And so we started to do all kinds of digital events, and that was group requests for teams to be able to cook virtually together at home. We do cook-alongs, yeah, we do demos, we do chats. So just trying to connect with people over food while everybody's staying at home.
Excellent.
We very quickly learned how to be video editors and such, and we have a whole website of recipes and videos and content. So yeah, we did the classic 2020 move of when in doubt, shift and do something entirely different.
Yeah, I can definitely relate to that. And I guess this event right here is a continuation of that effort. Cool. So what we'll do now, like it looks like everybody has some neat activity going. So I'm actually just going to do a quick tour around my screen here, just to get a quick check-in with people. And so actually, Seth, I want to just touch base with you real quick because I think you're about to ready put that in the oven. Just wanted to see what you got prepped here before it goes in.
Oh, yeah. So this is the ham roast that has slices of apple, like tart green apple, and rosemary in between the slices. Hasselback is a term that is usually applied to potatoes. It started in Sweden in 1953 from the restaurant that was called, any guesses? The Hasselbacken restaurant in Sweden in 1953, and they did this with potatoes, but we're doing it with ham today, and the tart's apple is a nice complement to the ham. It's a little sweet, and this is all going to bake together with the rosemary. And I've put potatoes and carrots and turnips around the outside that'll cook right along with the ham. So
excellent.
I'm looking forward to this, and just a shout out to turnips. Turnips are underappreciated. The Turnip Council needs to get their act together because they're so good. They're full of so many vitamins and minerals, A, C, E, and a bunch of B vitamins, as well as phosphorus, magnesium, and more vegetables in vitamins and minerals than you could count or say. So we got turnips in here along with the carrots and potatoes, and I'm going to stick it in the oven right now and get started on the Tofurky roast.
Perfect. Now, Seth, actually, if you can just do a quick close-up, actually, Seth. Actually, yeah. Seth, can you just do a quick close-up of the dish? Just put it right in the screen. Yeah, just take it and put it right in front of your camera. Yeah, there we go. Perfect. Oh, yeah. That looks good. Perfect. Thanks, Seth. Yeah, that looks great. Cool. All right, we'll go now. We'll go over to Antoinette. Looks like Antoinette has a couple of friends, and there's a lot of good activity going on. Yeah, a toast, a virtual toast. There we go. There we go. Perfect. Yeah, so what do you have going on?
What's that?
What do you have going on? What are some things you're preparing? Yeah.
Well, we had to pop the wine because we're doing the wine and cheese tasting. So we started with the Chardonnay, the Bonterra.
Got it.
And I have here my good friend Esther, Anaya, who let me use her apartment because my Wi-Fi was so bad. Hello, guys. Hi, everybody.
Yes. Thank you for your space and your Wi-Fi.
She's a fabulous violinist and singer. So she welcomed us into her home today. And this is her husband, Ben.
Ben? Thanks for joining us. Perfect.
He just walked over here and wanted to know if everything was vegan.
There you go. Coming together. There you go. Good. So now, actually, I'll go over to, okay.
Different salamis and chorizos here that we're using. And
we got here the prosciutto. Yeah, it's so good. Oh my God, I'm so excited to try this.
Oh, the cocoa blue? No, that's the Katana's black blue garlic. Got
Okay.
some really cool cheeses here.
Oh, I love garlic.
Wow.
Oh,
Excellent.
and Avons, more of Avons. So we're gonna plate all of this and make a nice, fun, fancy charcuterie board with our fruits and crackers and everything. I've never made one of these before, so it's gonna be fun, I think.
Oh,
Excellent.
absolutely.
Have you made one before?
No,
Oh.
but it was the first time, and better than vegan and
Excellent. Cool. And actually, we'll switch over to Eddie now.
So let's do.
Oh,
Okay,
Go ahead,
so
Eddie.
let's start cutting the cheeses. They
Yeah.
get really beautiful with all.
oh, actually, Eddie, before we switch to you, actually, Antoinette, one quick thing. I'll go ahead and let you both get back to your preparing. I want to switch over to Eddie now because Eddie has some neat things going. Cool. Thanks. Yeah, keep it up.
Hey there.
Yeah, go ahead, Eddie.
Hey there. Yeah, Antoinette's party looks rocking. I want some of that wine. So right now what I'm doing is I'm just kneading my dough. It's a chocolate dough. It's a little bit different than what the recipe I sent calls for. I just wanted to do a little bit of a variation. It's basically the same recipe, plus I added half a cup of semi-sweet cocoa powder. This is really absolutely delicious. Now, basically, I've just mixed in my masa flour, which you can buy at a lot of different types of stores, Mexican stores, Latin stores, or even, gosh, I mean, even just like a basic supermarket if you go to the Latin section. And then I've mixed that in with, typically these are made with lard. So in place of lard, I am actually using coconut oil as my agent. But these are going to be really amazing. These are my double chocolate because they're going to be actually filled with chocolate also, these tamales. And you can just imagine like a double chocolate cookie, but corn-based. Absolutely fantastic. It's a great option for people who are looking to go like gluten-free if they want, completely plant-based. This is a really great option. And they're like presents when you open them up. That's why they make them so much for Christmas and for the holidays, because every tamal you open up is just like opening up a present. So I spent a lot of childhood years making these, dozens of these with my grandmother.
Wow, that's great. You know, I never knew there was a dessert version of a tamale. So I'm like,
Oh
wow.
yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's great. That's great. Cool. We'll switch over now to Anthony. I'll come back over to you. So I know you got some prep things going. Just quick description of what you're doing.
So what I'm doing so far, taking my root vegetables. I'm in the process of cutting them down to little slices. They're about 1/8 of an inch thick.
Mhm.
And also, I'm using a mandolin. It's very sharp. Be very careful with it. But you can also do this with a chef's knife if you don't have one. I peeled. I'm using rutabagas today. Some sweet potatoes, parsnips, and some golden beets. I choose not to. The rutabaga you have to peel because when you buy them they're waxed, so you want to take that hard outer covering off. But my sweet potatoes and my parsnips I did not peel. A lot of vegetables hold a lot of their nutrients and vitamins in the peels. So the skins, yeah, if you can, just leave them on. It's definitely going to be tasty and definitely a lot better for you.
Got it. Excellent. Cool. Now we'll go check in with Dede and with Margo. So yeah, Dede, just what you got going on? Some of your early steps for the prep.
Yeah, so my cauliflower and chickpeas with the harissa sauce is roasting in the oven. And while that's cooking, I'm working on cleaning up this beautiful pomegranate here. And I find one of the easiest ways to break it down is in a little bit of water. So then the membrane inside the pomegranate floats to the top, so it's really easy to separate out. And then I'll just have all these beautiful pomegranate seeds, which I'm then going to make a gremolata, which will be the garnish for my dish.
Nice. Excellent. Cool. And Margo.
All right, so I am working on my scallion pancakes at the moment, and a little bit of context as to what these are. These aren't like the American fluffy breakfast pancakes. These are a play on the Chinese pancakes that you see a lot of times at dim sum as like an appetizer, where essentially it's a dough layered with herbs and some sort of fat, and then crisped up in a pan, usually served with a dip. So rather than doing the traditional sesame and scallion version, we're infusing a bunch of holiday flavors. So my herb mix that's going inside is going to be a combo of sage, scallions, parsley, and a little bit of nutritional yeast, which is, for lack of a better term, what I call vegan Parmesan. It's a super savory, toasty, nutty, delicious flakes that we added in. And then our dough is 2 ingredients. It's the world's easiest dough. It is boiling water and all-purpose flour. So I'm just rolling out that dough, layering in all the herbs, rolling them up, and rolling out our pancakes. So you'll see me doing that layering action for the next little while.
Got it. Perfect. Good. Good. And thanks like this, just for all of you who are here. I know everybody's busy on screen, but this is good. I'm looking at my other screen here and working with Sarah. Yeah, there's some good activity, lots of good questions and curiosities with everything. We did have our video folks switch to a presenter view. That way everybody can see a close-up of what you're preparing, which is there. Yeah, excellent, excellent. So now what we're going to do, Seth, I see that you have things in the prepped. Yeah, so go ahead. What is that?
Yeah. So the ham is in the oven, and now I'm starting on the Tofurky roast, which you can see here is a tofu and wheat outside, and in the center is the stuffing that is wild rice and organic brown rice and bread cubes. And what I'm going to do is I'm putting it in the slow cooker with just 3 ingredients. We got some veggie broth right here, organic veggie broth, a can of cranberries, and some good old Lipton onion soup mix that's in there. So that's the broth that's in the slow cooker, and I'm just going to immerse the whole roast in there. And then I'm free to talk to all my friends, watch a little football, go for a hike. It's just going to sit there and steam. That's the beauty of the Tofurky, and it's going to come out moist and tender and mwah. But it's really no muss, no fuss, easy breezy. So
excellent.
In it goes.
That'll work. Yeah, so Seth, that works. And actually, I got a question for you a little bit later after you put that in about tempeh. And it'll be a question for the group as well. This is great. So actually, I'm going to come over to Eddie real quick. This question came in. And the question for you, Eddie, is where can we get more of your vegan Mexican-inspired recipes?
Yeah, so you can go buy my cookbook, Salud Mexican Cookbook on Amazon. I've got 150 recipes in there that take you from tamales, a bunch of different kinds, to churros, to pozole, which is a really delicious soup made with hominy. Lots of different things. Also, very soon, I am going to be publishing another cookbook. It's going to be out February 9th. That one is a 30-day meal plan for vegan beginners. So anybody who wants to get started, it's got dietitian-approved recipes. And I do have some Mexican recipes in that one, not as many as obviously my all-Mexican cookbook, but also check me out on my Instagram, the Eddie Garza. I do share tips, recipes on especially Mexican food and all sorts of fusion cuisines.
Excellent. Thanks. Yeah, now this question, I think this can be for anybody here. We'll float it around. A general question for any of the chefs. This gets into spices. And the question is, when and in what order do you add different spices for maximum taste? For example, salt and pepper comes towards the end of the process, but interested to hear your tips. So any chefs on that question? I'm actually curious about that one myself.
I'm happy to chime in. I toast a lot of spices, kind of like in Indian cuisine. In Mexican food, we also toast a lot of spices. I use cumin. I almost always toast my turmeric before I use that, especially for a tofu scramble. But I find that toasting the spices really brings out, the aromatics, and that's just my particular take on it.
Excellent. Any others on spices? The order of spices.
Yeah, I'll jump in on
Yeah.
salt and pepper.
Uh-huh.
My biggest thing is, obviously all the other spices you can play around with, like you were saying, toasting and whatnot, but I think salt and pepper is the one that gets ignored the most often. And rather than adding it all at the end, I am always a big proponent of add a little bit as you go. It's just going to give you a lot more flavor. Instead of adding a lot of salt at the end, adding little bits, it lets each ingredient kind of get infused with that seasoning. And what salt really should do, if it's doing its job right, is it makes things taste more like themselves. So it makes a lemon taste more lemony, onion taste more oniony. So it just really enhances all your flavors. That's my salt tip for the day.
Okay, so it amplifies. It amplifies whatever the flavor is that it's touching or connected to. Great. Any others on that question when it comes to
I
spices?
agree with Margo when on adding salt and pepper in stages. Like to add it part of the cooking process as well. And then sometimes chefs in restaurants will use different types of salt as well. I like to use pink Himalayan sea salt in most of my cooking, but then some restaurants will use straight up kosher salt. Nice, has nice granulation that has a better feel, and a chef can judge better using some, a little bit of something a little coarser. And then there's also finishing salts. That there's Maldon sea salt, salt flakes. There's black salts from Hawaii, and a lot of beautiful salts that we consider finishing salts we can use. As far as the spices, many of the hard spices, I also like to toast them. It's a good tip. As Eddie was saying, you toast your hard spices, releases some of the natural oils in the spices, and enhances the flavors that go into the dish.
Wow. I did not know that. Thanks. Cool. Now, actually, there's another question that came through. This one's good, close to my heart, because before I switched to a plant-based diet, eating meat, mainly white meat, but bacon was one of my favorite meats to eat. And the question is this: have you found a vegan bacon that tastes good and is available in stores? I would be curious to know. I used to love Yeeves Canadian bacon, but can't find it in stores in San Francisco anymore. So any vegan bacon help to anybody that has any tips on that?
Actually, there's a couple of good tempeh bacons out on the market, including one from Tofurky. It's a smoky maple bacon, and it's already in strips, and you just take, it's flavored, so you take it out of the package, throw it in the pan, and it's awesome for a TLT sandwich, tempeh, lettuce, and tomato. And there's several other bacons, plant-based, that are out there and real good as well. But bacon's one of those easier flavors for plant-based chefs to create. There's some subtle flavors like chicken and turkey are harder than bacon, which is just sweet, salty, and smoky, and kind of knocks you over, and that's why people love it. But I would try looking at tempeh bacons. Light Life also has a good tempeh bacon. Those tempeh is such a wonder food that it's really a good way to start the day.
Yeah, and this is great because but before this event, I had never heard of tempeh before, and actually last weekend I sampled a plate with it, and it's good. It's good. And so between that and the bacon, I'm like, wow, I can get my bacon fix in a tempeh sort of way. So that's exciting. And actually, Seth, we'll stay on you here because this question is for everybody, but we'll start with you. And the question is about tempeh. Oh, go ahead, Dede.
Can I just pop in here quick for
Sure, go ahead.
Another alternative for bacon is we'll slice eggplant down really thin on a mandolin, or you can do it with a knife. So totally coming from plants. And then you can season it up with a little soy sauce on there for that really intense salty, little smoked paprika, and Bake it off in the oven until it gets nice and crispy. So super easy, like 3 ingredients. You need an eggplant, a little bit of soy sauce, a little bit of smoked paprika, and you're in business.
Wow. Wow. Eggplant. Eggplant. Nice. Thank you. Thank you. Excellent. And go ahead, Antoinette. You had one?
Yeah,
Oh.
me too. I just wanted
Yeah.
to say, first of all, that is it tempa or tempeh, Seth? Because I've heard both.
I say tempeh, but that's a good question.
It's
I've
an
heard
A,
tempa
tempeh.
and
Tempeh. Got it. Good question. Good question. Cool. And actually, Seth, we'll come back to you on the tempeh question. The question is, what is the best tempeh brand and way to prep? I know it's good for you, but I have not found a way to eat it that's tasty.
Yeah, that's a great question, you know. So here's the story. Tofu came to this country in the early 1900s. The first tofu factory was actually down the road in Portland, Oregon, and it's Oda Tofu. So that became more familiar, and tofu is eaten throughout Asia, and particularly China and Japan have a long history with tofu. So that hit the American market much earlier than tempeh. Tempeh just started in 1976. The first tempeh shop was created in this country. So it's a younger food, but because people were used to cooking tofu, which you can make in big cubes and you can grind it up and put it in smoothies or cheesecake or anything, tempeh is more like the actual bean instead of the milk of the bean. Tofu is like a cheese making process where you cook the beans and then you squeeze the juice out of the beans and you coagulate the juice. But tempeh is a fermented product where you split the beans, you cook the beans, and then you ferment them with this, one of the good guys. It's a mold, Rhizopus oligosporus. It breaks down the proteins and enzymes and makes it much more digestible. So I think all of the major brands are very good out there, but I would say the biggest thing that people make a mistake on is they cook it. They don't cut the tempeh into thin enough slices. You want to cut it very thin. And the other thing I would say is marinate the tempeh in a little soy sauce, a little garlic, a little onion, a little ginger, and because it's very low in salt. So that gives it a little bit of flavor. So you can put it in a marinade like overnight, or even if you have less time, half an hour or something, and then just brown it, saute it in a pan. And that's the best, sort of the 101 way. But you can bake tempeh, you can grate it and make tacos out of it. And it's just one of the real miracle foods that is very high in protein. And it's not only high in protein, but it's because of the fermentation, it's one of the easiest proteins for the body to digest.
Wow. Wow. Thank you. Did any of the other chefs have any thoughts about tempeh?
I'm a big fan of tempeh. In fact, in my new book, I do have a tempeh bacon recipe, although I do think that Tofurky's tempeh bacon is bomb. It's so good. But there's so many different things that I like to do with tempeh also. I like to toast it. I like to just break it up and toast it, add a bunch of different spices. You have a just a regular toaster oven, or if you have an air fryer, you can fry that up, and it's just really delicious.
Wow. And actually, Eddie, since we're on you, it looks like you got a
Yeah.
nice collection of tamales there. Yeah, just a quick close-up of that. Yeah, okay. Wow. Lots of chocolate. Nice.
Lots of chocolate. And while these are going to be steaming, I've got them in a pot, in a steamer pot. I'm going to steam them for about 20 to 25 minutes. And while I do that, I'm actually just going to melt some chocolate to make a nice drizzle. So with the leftover chocolate and some coconut milk, it's going to be really
Got
good.
it. Nice. Nice. Cool. All right, got another question that came in, and this is nutrition when it comes to cooking. And so, how do you preserve the most amount of nutrition when choosing and or cooking vegetables? So I guess steaming versus raw versus baking versus, I guess, all the different ways to cook vegetables. What's the best way to, I guess, prep them while preserving as much nutrition as possible? Any takers on that question?
I think, Larry, I think the easiest way to kind of encapsulate an answer for that is that the less processed that you have to go through to get your vegetables to the stage of where you want them, the better. You maintain their inherent nutrients. Absolutely raw vegetables contain a lot of nutrients. Once you start cooking them, they start to break down and release their nutrients. So some of the ways that we use to preserve vegetables, the nutrient qualities of the vegetables, are to, if you keep them in a raw state and not cook them above 118 degrees, they're still kind of considered raw by raw food standards. Also, dehydrating them actually concentrates a lot of the nutrients as well as the flavors. You're going to boil vegetables, that's going to kind of leach out a lot of the nutrients into the water. So you might want to do a quick blanch, or sous vide cooking is also another way we use to preserve a lot of the nutrients.
Got it. And then also with that, I guess steaming vegetables is a similar phenomenon. I guess some of the nutrients get released into the steam, I assume, just because of the heat with that. But thanks, Anthony. Yeah. Any others when it comes to cooking tips with preserving the nutrients?
I think you summed that up perfectly. The less is more if you want more nutrients.
Got it. Cool. And I got a comment here. I guess people like my outfit. So yeah, it's a nice holiday jacket mixed with the Black Panther. I'm a Black Panther fan. So that's my outfit for today. Cool. And actually, Anthony, back to you. This question came in. What is your favorite mandolin?
My favorite mandolin is the Japanese mandolin by Ben Reiner. Let me see the box right here.
Okay.
It's Ben Reiner and Japanese mandolin. This particular one comes in two sizes. There's a thin one I use. Normally the color dictates the size, and there's a green one that they make that's a little bit wider. Allows you to get some wider vegetables. You don't have to cut them down as much. But that's definitely my favorite. The German style mandolin made by Braun is also a good mandolin. And usually you'll see both styles in professional kitchens, the Braun and the Japanese Ben Reiners.
Got it. Thanks.
I have a follow-up.
And another question. This is great.
Larry.
Oh yeah, go ahead, Margo.
I was just gonna say, so mandolins are like the coolest tool ever, but they're also a little scary. You may have seen both Chef Dede and I wearing these guys as we were cutting. They're called cut gloves. It's literally just kind of a cut-resistant glove. You can find them online for like $5-10. If you're using a mandolin, I would super strongly suggest grabbing one. It just makes sure that you finish what you're doing with all 10 fingers that you started with. So cut gloves will be your friend on a mandolin.
Yeah, thank you. Safety first. We want to cut the food ourselves.
They do come with little safety kind of covers on them as well, but I would still recommend, and actually at Facebook, we don't allow any of our cooks to use mandolins without a cut glove. So definitely safety first. Learn from experience. As a young cook in culinary school, actually cooking a big event in New York City, lost the tip of my thumb. So.
Ooh. Ouch. I guess that's when you literally learn that knives are actually sharp.
Horrible.
Knives work. Yes. Great. Yeah, we had another bunch of questions that are pouring in, which is great. So actually, this question is a general question to everybody. And actually, we'll go with Dede. We'll start with you on this one. This question is about mushrooms. And the question is, I know you can roast mushrooms until they taste like bacon. Does anyone have a specific recipe or how to? I didn't know that. Yeah, any thoughts on that question with mushroom?
You know, I might take that similar approach like with the eggplant and put a little smoked paprika, a little bit of soy sauce. I have a food dehydrator at home, so then I could slice them really thin, throw them in overnight. They could dry out a little bit crispy. Also, you could do a low setting on your oven to dry them out a little bit. Just a couple ideas, I think, there, Larry.
Got it. Thank you.
I've got some.
Yeah.
I've got
Any
something,
others when
Larry.
it comes to mushrooms?
Yeah, Larry. Speaking of mandolins, I do like using a mandolin, although I am also kind of scared of them at the same time. But I do love using a mandolin, especially when working with shiitake mushrooms that are a really great alternative. Now, it's not going to give you the protein that you would get with tempeh, but if you want to fry them up, they're really fantastic. What I do is I marinate shiitake mushrooms that I have, julienne with a mandolin. I marinate them with a combination of spices, but specifically a little bit of sesame oil really does the trick to give it that sort of bacony flavor, mixed in with the smoked paprika and also some soy sauce. I also like to add a little bit of liquid smoke whenever I want that extra smokiness. I was a bacon lover too when I was, eating meat back in the day. I was known to fill my plate or pile my plate high with bacon at the dining hall.
I can relate to
But
that.
yeah, but the cool thing is that when you marinate it that way, you can put it on a nonstick skillet and it'll fry up like bacon and it'll happen fast.
Wow. Oh, that's good to know. Good to
Yeah.
know. Oh, all right. So now what we'll do, you still got some more questions coming in, but I actually want to pivot slightly here and just get to know our different chefs. And so I got a chance to take a look at their bios. All of them have some amazing things going on. And I got a couple quick questions for them. So we'll just go around the horn here real quick. And actually, Seth, we'll start with you. A couple questions here for you. And the first question is, plant-based has gotten a lot of buzz throughout this year. What do you think is the driving force behind that?
Yeah, well, I think, first of all, the consumer base is really expanding as more people see the health and environmental benefits of plant-based foods. And I think what's really driving the category is there's about 30 or 40% of America is what's known as a flexitarian, who eats both plant-based foods and animal-based foods. And, vegans, God love them, I'm one myself, and vegetarians amount to about 6% of the market. So when you get up there and you're talking to these flexitarians that would have both options on their menu, that's what's really driving the boat. But what we've really seen in the past 3 years is the array of plant-based foods and the texture and flavor of plant-based foods has grown so much better that, just the taste is what's really driving it. We say taste is king, value's queen, everything else is marketing. The early versions of cheese, plant-based cheese and milk and meats weren't so great, so it took some time to get it. And now there's a lot of research going on. And due to the fantastic taste, like a lot of people are going, you know what, tastes pretty good and I could live with this. So I think that it's really the taste and the flavor of plant-based foods and the array. I mean, you can get any type of plant-based foods from bacon to cheese and yogurt, milk. It's very simple today. It wasn't like that in 1980 when I started, I'll tell you that.
Wow. Yeah, so the category has grown and developed and matured and evolved, which makes sense. Cool. And then a couple more things, Seth, here, a couple other quick questions. This is with Tofurky. And so Tofurky has been a category leader in the plant-based industry for over 25 years. And how have you seen the industry grow is the question.
Yeah, the industry in 1980 was actually $0.00. You know, you couldn't get tofu, you couldn't get tempeh, you couldn't get any meat alternatives or milk in a grocery store. And now what we're seeing is plant-based foods are growing 14% in conventional grocery, which is a big number. Like conventional grocery stores, if they see in all food 2% growth, they're like really happy. And now, as more and more players have come onto the market, and you're seeing this meteoric rise, different segments are growing even faster than that. For instance, refrigerated meat alternatives now are up over 100% from last year, and a lot of that is from the new tech players. Impossible and Beyond are really supercharging the category and making new noise and bringing new people in. But it's also just the old stalwarts like Follow Your Heart, Tofurky, and others that have just been out there improving their products and getting them out all over the world. That is really changing things. And plant-based milks is the big grower in the category. They're showing growth of, I think, about 14% of all milk sold in this country now is plant-based. And, you know, meat alternatives has a ways to go to hit that number, but there's still plenty of meat being eaten. I think it's 200 pounds of meat is eaten per capita by the average American. And since I didn't eat any, I think that somebody out there is eating 400 pounds.
400.
Right?
Somebody's doubling up. Yeah, that I was thinking the same thing as you said that, and I don't eat meat as well, so somebody might be eating possibly 600, or a couple of people with 400.
That must be right, since the two of us are doing that. I think it is 600.
Exactly. And then another quick question here, and this is with the recipe for the original roast. How has the recipe changed, if at all, in the last 25 years?
Yeah, so the first year with Tofurky, it was all tofu. That was in 1995 when we sold 818 tofu roast in the Portland and Seattle and California markets. And we put in little feedback cards. That's, you know, Americans in 1995, only 30% of Americans had a computer in their house. So they still got in touch with you through writing letters and phone calling. And we got the feedback like, oh my God, I have something to eat now. I'm not a second-class citizen anymore. So it was really groundbreaking. But at the same time, tofu doesn't freeze very well. So the next years we experimented around, and in 1997 we hit on this current recipe, which is a combination of wheat, protein, and tofu that really has the nice texture of meat. You know, texture is often, when you're developing new products, the hardest thing to mimic, because it's more like how it goes through machinery as opposed to spices and flavorings. So it hasn't changed too much, but we make little improvements every year as time goes on. And this has been a great year for us. We've sold about 20% more this year than we did last year. And we still get comments like, the stores are all out. Where are they? So can't really make enough Tofurkys. Yeah,
Excellent. Well, congratulations to you. And actually, Antoinette, we'll come to you next. But actually, one final thought here, Seth. And this question is, and you kind of answered it, how do you anticipate the holidays changing this year? Will plant-based literally have a seat at the table? I think the answer is yes. The numbers are pointing to that.
Yeah, it's crazy, you know, because when Tofurky first came out, it was like good punchline for jokes. I mean, everybody thought like there wouldn't be anybody crazy enough to come out with a tofu turkey, but voila, there was. And now it's comfort food. And in the pandemic, you know, there was uncertainty in March, April. What are people going to do for the holidays? And are they going to bring in more or less plant-based foods? But what we've seen is a general uptick, that people are being more thoughtful about their food and what they put in their bodies. And we have seen, not just with the holiday roast, but all of our products are in high demand this year. So it's really And it isn't just us. I think it's the whole category that the conversation is, how can we make enough of this product to satisfy this demand? So there's a lot of effort being made by a lot of companies to keep employees safe in the COVID era and produce massive amounts of food. So that's been a real challenge, but we've met the challenge as best we could and had a really good year, and the category is really in good shape right now.
Excellent. Thanks. And again, to all of our listeners that are out there, yeah, again, we have the recipes as well as all of our chefs' bios. So you can actually go there. Sarah has it in the chat to just learn more about what Seth has going on and about his background. So thank you, Seth. Cool.
Yeah.
And now, Antoinette, we'll move over to you now, and I wanted to get to know you a little bit more. And so Antoinette has this new platform called One Veggie at a Time. And Antoinette, I wanted to just have you tell us more about it.
Okay, well, basically when I first became plant-based, well, first of all, I don't know how to cook, and that's why I'm doing the charcuterie board, because we didn't want something to burn in the kitchen or ruin a dish.
It's part of the process.
So
It's part of the process.
I decided, how can we make cooking fun? And well, why not just bring people in to teach me how to cook?
After we got our COVID test, so everybody here
Yes,
got
yes,
our
yes.
COVID test.
Oh, yes. All of you are safe. Okay.
Yes, with our industry, we get tested every week.
Yeah.
So I should have started with that from the very beginning. My apologies.
All good. Thank you.
So different plant-based vegans have a bad rap for having we're weird. We have a stigma about us. So my show the premise is how to have fun in making food, and that we're fun. Plant-based people are fun, and it's good. Like, food is good, right?
It's amazing. And I love plant-based because you're like taking care of yourself at the same time. And then just knowing that you can make from plant-based such a like flavorful kind of products is just like fascinating. It's such an amazing industry, and I love it when I got introduced.
That's
How long have
exciting.
you been into plant-based food?
Well, I discovered it a couple of years ago, and I'll probably say like a year ago, it's been like more serious to me, and I enjoy it and love it. And the more products come out to the market, it make it easier for everybody, and it makes it so like relatable for people to like open people's mind and want to try more things because they're more accessible. And now trying all these cheeses that I had no idea. I was like, I'm obsessed with garlic. I love truffle, love everything. And I'm like, what?
Yeah, katana bread is so good. I don't know if anyone has tried it. This cheese is amazing. I also got cheese from Fromage. We're kind of eating it. We're not really we're failing on the board here.
Oh, good.
And you know what's the most interesting thing? Last year, I have a nonprofit, and last year I was sponsored by a vegan restaurant, and in all the crowd, it came like 400 people. I'm a violinist, I'm a musician, and I give instruments and education to less privileged kids in Colombia. And seeing the support of the community, of the plant-based and vegan community to the event, it really made me happy. And all the guests tried the food, so they loved it. And I was like, oh my God, this is great because it makes like people explore their palate. So I was very happy. Yeah.
Excellent. And actually, as a quick reminder to all of our viewers, I know our other chefs are involved in different nonprofits and initiatives, and we'll get to know about that here in a minute as well. But excellent. Yeah, those are some nice close-ups, Antoinette. Yeah, a nice spread there.
But we're working on here. We've got a lot of stuff. I might be full by the end of this.
Perfect. And actually, I got one last question for you, but Dede, we'll come to you next after Antoinette. But I'm curious, Antoinette, like where can people find you? I know Facebook is one place with the One Veggie at a Time. Just tell us more about where our listeners and viewers can find you.
Yeah, sure. You can reach me my email or Instagram, Facebook. I'm on IMDb. You guys can find me anywhere. And it's Antoinette Westcott. It's pretty easy.
And you got
it, sir?
You guys have actually, I invite you guys to listen to my music. I'm a musician, so you can find my music on Spotify, Apple Music, YouTube, everywhere. Esther Anaya. And yeah, on Instagram too. We're gonna be like posting a couple of photos and the experience on Instagram so you guys can watch.
We got some stories going to showcase everything.
Mm-hmm.
That'll work. Yeah.
Esther Anaya.
Esther Anaya. Okay, Instagram. And yeah, since we're borrowing your space, definitely make sure we can get out there. Boom. Thanks.
Yes, we moved on to the Foley of the Beast, the Pinot Noir. that was the beast.
Excellent.
We do need to move on to the Merlot soon.
Yeah,
this one's a great one.
And I can hardly wait.
Yeah. Yeah, things are active over there. It's excellent.
We only are tasting it.
Only tasting, only sampling.
We are responsible vegans.
Yes, excellent. Now we'll actually move over to Dede now. Excellent. So Dede, so getting to know you with your projects, I'm curious about some of the projects that you've been involved with that support local farmers and producers. I picked up on that in your bio. So I wanted to just ask you, just share more about the activity that you've been doing there, or that you have been doing there.
Yeah, thanks, Larry. So back in 2005, 2004 and 2005, living on the coast of Marin, working as a chef, getting to know a lot of farmers and producers. And as a chef, I think when we talk about deliciousness and what's really tasty is what's in season. And so really being in tune with what's growing in the Bay Area, what the seasons are, what fruits and vegetables. So a group of us decided we were going to do a Bay Area Eat Local challenge. And so, you kind of set your own guidelines around this. We recommended to eat within a 100-mile radius of San Francisco Bay. And that doesn't mean that you can't have coffee or bananas, but maybe you're buying coffee from that neighborhood coffee store down the street, or you're buying chocolate from a local producer. So just really dove into going to the farmer's market every single weekend. I still do that now, even in COVID. I'm at the Sunnyvale Farmer's Market every Saturday morning at 9 a.m.
Wow, excellent, excellent. And then the other thing too, when it comes to the local community, I also see that you did some work with the Berkeley Unified School District. And I do know also that when it comes to youth and nutrition, or just nutrition in schools, that's a big deal. And so just wanted you to share more about the work that you did there.
Yeah, I started on that project, of course, with the team in 2006, and back, that wasn't that long ago, but kids were eating, packaged pizza, packaged grilled cheese, packaged burrito, rotate to the next week. And so we started cooking real food from scratch, fresh fruits and vegetables, no chicken McNuggets. It's, roast chicken if that's what's on the menu. So kids need access to fresh fruits, fresh vegetables, salad bars. And as coming from a chef from fine dining, taking that very seriously and making sure that kids have access to the nutrition and the resources that they need.
Got it. Now I know one follow-up question with that, Dede, and then after that, Eddie, we'll come to you next. But I know, Dede, when it comes to kids and nutrition or schools and nutrition, I know taste is a big deal, as well as the marketing too, because in my opinion, I think fast food does a wonderful job at marketing, their products to kids, and they consume them as a result. But when it comes to just the taste piece, like, I don't know, how do you make peas taste good, or whatever the vegetable is, or whatever the dish is you're trying to make, but any thoughts around that, the taste piece?
So I think a couple things. It can take kids and anybody who has maybe tasting something for the first time, a few times to try it. I think properly cooking vegetables is super important. Like nobody wants to eat asparagus that's been roasted in the oven for an hour. You know, throw it on the grill for 2-3 minutes. So making things delicious will really help not only kids but adults move towards eating more plants. And I'm a big believer in not trying to hide veggies and stuff. Like give kids empowerment. You know, we had salad bars in every single school in Berkeley, from kindergarten all the way up to high school. And when kids get a choice and they can choose, you know, one day it might be tomatoes and cucumbers, and the next day they might not feel like it, just like I don't want to eat broccoli every day. So I think empowering kids and letting them have choices and properly cooking will be the right avenue or a better path.
Got it. Yeah, that's a good point. It actually helps to normalize vegetables as a choice that's just as good as, you know, fast food. Yeah, excellent. Thanks, Dede. And now we'll move over to Eddie, get to know him a little bit better. And so, Eddie, a couple questions here from your bio, from getting to know you. I actually wanted to start with the 80/20 plants initiative and project that you have going there. It seems pretty neat. So can you just tell us more about that?
Sure. Thank you, Larry. First of all, Dede, I love your suggestions. And Esther, I've got to tell you about my vegan bandeja paisa. I think that that'll be really cool for you to hear about. 80/20 Plants is really an incredible platform that I am really excited about because it's launching in Latin America very soon. It's already available here in the United States. And Sarah, can you share that link with everybody so they can go and learn more? But essentially, it's like Noom. It's like making a small change, gradual change, and it's a very simple way to kind of lean into plant-based eating. As you may have seen on my bio, Larry, before I went plant-based about 18 years ago, almost, I'm a short guy, I'm 5'7", and I started, I weighed 310 pounds. So I lost a lot of weight by just eating whole foods, plant-based, and it's really kind of the way that I got into this. Of course, I learned all about the environmental impacts of, eating meat and the benefits to the environment by cutting back on meat. And then, of course, I learned all about the factory farming. So that's the reason I've been vegan for so long now. But it really was a 5-year process for me to go completely plant-based. I started off by giving up something and then adding something in, eating more fruits and vegetables, eating more legumes, which I thought were, at the time, they were kind of a side dish and they became my main entree. So what I love about 80/20 Plants is it really is that way to get to 80% eating plants. And then there's like a 20% that you can either go fully plant-based, or if you just want to stick to 80%, but it starts slow. It starts with breakfast, and then it starts with snacks, and then the next step would be lunches and then dinners. So it really is a gradual process. Now, the other cool thing is it really is like having a dietitian in your pocket. So you have one-on-one help with somebody. Because one of the things for me when I went plant-based is I didn't know what I was doing. I didn't go vegan as long ago as Seth did, but even like when I did in the early 2000s, it was just not that easy still, especially because I was living in Texas and I didn't have a lot of those resources. I didn't know where to find a lot of that information. And this really does break it down to where you've got an expert, you've got people who focus on fitness, nutrition, and making sure that you have enough protein if you're looking to be a bodybuilder, or that you're just eating a very well-balanced diet, which I think is the most important thing. So many people start plant-based eating and then they quit because either they've been under consuming calories. I've seen meal plans from people who have eaten maybe 800 calories a day, and then they give up veganism after a couple of years. And of course, because you're just not eating sufficient calories. But that's the cool thing, to have a dietitian in your back pocket, to have somebody who is a motivational coach to be right there and cheer you on. Not everybody gets to live in Los Angeles like I do, or in New York City, where you've got access to everything. Some people do live in the middle of the country and they do need that support. So that's my pitch for 80/20 Plants. I'm a big fan of the platform. I'm a big fan of the fact that you have an app, you've got somebody to call, and it really is, the way to start a plant-based journey, feeling like you've got all the resources at your fingertips.
Yeah, excellent. I appreciate that, Eddie. And then Margo, we'll come to you here in a moment. But Eddie, one thing I like about that is that it breaks it down. It actually makes it tangible, breaks it down into different steps. So for those who are looking to transition, it can give you a game plan so that you can be set up for success. Excellent. Cool. I appreciate all your work with that. And again, Sarah put the link there in the chat for everybody to look at. Excellent. Cool. So now we'll move over to Margo. I wanted to get to know you a little bit. So I noticed in your bio that I guess with your family, like cooking wasn't a big deal, but something sparked in you. And so I'm curious as to what was either the event or spark that prompted your love and passion for cooking.
Yeah, good question. So I grew up in the age when Food Network was really just becoming a thing, like really early Food Network, and I became completely obsessed. And I was lucky enough that my mom and I had this deal that if I would cook, she would clean, which I think I got the way better end of that deal for sure. But I remember when I was probably 11, I said, can I make Thanksgiving dinner? And it was just us and my grandparents. And so like worst case scenario, it's only us. It's not a big deal. She's like, yeah, go for it. Make Thanksgiving. And I did. And I thought it was the coolest thing ever. And pretty much from then on, I was the de facto cook. My mom was always a very healthy cook, but it was things like, crudité, like veggies and ranch, or, sandwiches or salads. It wasn't, so it was healthy, but it wasn't always the most exciting. So yeah, that's how I got my love of cooking started.
Wow. Yeah. And then you fully leaned into it, and just say the rest is history. And I know, Margo, you participate in the teaching kitchen, and also saw in your bio that you've been in other teaching situations when it comes to cooking. That's one of the things you love to do. And so my other question here is, when it comes to teaching people, what's the favorite thing that you like? Oh, that looks good. I distracted you. That looks good. But so I guess the question is what is the favorite thing that you like about teaching people how to cook?
Yeah, great question. So I did, right after culinary school, I had like a brief stint in restaurants, and I very quickly realized that I missed interacting with people. I missed that front of house hospitality aspect of connecting and enjoying food together. So I started teaching at a local school, and I really discovered that aha moment where cooking went from a chore for someone to being fun. And that doesn't necessarily mean that they're, cooking 5 meals a week and, doing everything from scratch, but even, having 1 or 2 dishes in their back pocket that they feel confident with and that they, are comfortable making is, for a lot of people, a big aha moment. And that's probably watching that revelation is the best part of teaching, I would say.
Excellent. That's cool. Yeah, when they get it, and you had a hand in empowering them on their food and nutrition journey. Excellent. Cool. Well, thanks, Margo. And Anthony, we'll come over to you now. Yeah, and actually, Anthony, special, as I was reading in your bio, a special shout out as well as a thank you, because you were a former police officer in Newark, New Jersey. And so I thank you for your service, in the police force as well. And then also I did notice too, in your kitchen, I see an anchor there. I actually used to be in the military. I used to be in the Navy. I used to be a food service officer in the Navy. And so doing events like these, cooking for lots of sailors coming through, my team and I, it was a really fun thing to do. And so that the anchor brings back some memories there with that.
Well, then.
Yes. And so first question, I noticed, when you shifted, the thing I'm curious about is what prompted you to shift careers from the police force to pursuing your dream when it comes to cooking?
I think that my strongest influence was probably my dad. And my dad did the opposite. He started out with my uncle, his brother, owning a restaurant. And my uncle and my dad ran a pretty popular restaurant. I was born and raised in the city of Newark, New Jersey, and he hated it. He absolutely hated it. So he left the restaurant business and became a sheriff's officer. So he went into law enforcement. I went into law enforcement early. I was probably about 19 years old, and I just was, found myself, thinking about food. And once I became a detective, and we got a chance to kind of, not be running around on the streets all the time, visiting, restaurants or having meetings. And I found myself just, asking the owner or the chef if I can just go take a look in the kitchen. And I'd stand there in a suit and tie and watch these guys. And to me, it was like a ballet. I really loved it. So that was the moment when I decided I think I want to take some classes, and I enrolled in culinary school. After graduating culinary school, I worked in a kind of a new, at that time, it was a new concept. It was like the first high-end healthy restaurant in New York City. It was called Heartbeat, by the chef name of Michel Nichon. And he hired me after I did a food show with him. I was one of the volunteer assistants. And he told me to come by, and it was at the first W Hotel ever. Now they're all over the world. But it was fascinating to me. And I went to work in that kitchen, and it was a no cream, no butter, high-end restaurant.
Oh, wow.
And it was tremendous. It was, it's not only was, high energy, but exciting. You had all the, stars, everybody that, who's who, A-listers in Manhattan would come visit. A lot of times we're cooking, and the chef's he was on camera, it seemed like all the time. So there's like camera crews in our kitchen, and we're trying to get all this food out and stepping over these wires and cables and stuff. So,
wow.
It gave me my base of healthy cooking, and I didn't stop from there. I continued on, and I decided to really kickstart my career. I needed some, solid resume. I decided I wanted to go to Europe to cook. And I found this really cute little restaurant. It's a little boutique restaurant hotel in the south of Portugal. And it had 2 Michelin stars. It was the only restaurant in the whole country that had any Michelin stars. So went there. Chef was Austrian. All the cooks were from Austria or Germany. Service was conducted in German. And here I am. I could speak English. I'm an American, and I speak Portuguese. That helped me not even a bit. But it was an amazing experience, and it was a beautiful restaurant. We had amazing product. We'd go out into the gardens and pick bay leaves off a tree. It was growing on the cliffs. We were in the south of Portugal in the Algarve, overlooking the ocean. It was amazing.
Wow.
So I did my stop there and came back, and health conscious cooking has always been part of my chef career.
Excellent. Thanks, Anthony. Thanks. Cool. Yeah, now we're roughly about the time in our program where I think just about all of you have things coming out of the oven or things prepared. And so what I'll do now is we'll just go around the horn, and if your thing is ready, great. If not, we'll skip you and we'll come back. But I think Seth will start with you, because I think you just took this out of the oven. If you can just show us what you have.
Okay, I've got the Tofurky ham is done here. The veggies are nice. They've been soaking in this beautiful broth, and the ham looks great. The turnips look great. Yay for turnips. And here is
the ham.
The presentation of the ham. What's beautiful about it is, I'm just going to cut a slice out so you can see. What's really nice is how the apple cooks right in there with the ham. So everybody would get a slice of ham, a little sprig of rosemary, and the tart Granny Smith apple that's been baked on there, and it is delicious. And then you've got your side vegetables, and you're ready to go. And I'll be carving the Tofurky roast up next, so you can go to somewhere else and come back.
Excellent. That works. Thanks, Seth. So we'll go to Antoinette. We'll take a quick stop again at yours. We saw a good piece of it earlier. Anything else with it that you've shared? There we go.
Oh yeah, I think we got it. We've got everything here. We've got some prosciutto, some salami. We've got 2 different salamis here. The goat cheese, the brie, and then all the apples, like all the fruit that mixes in with everything. And we have our jam. We've got a nice pineapple spicy bit here.
Nice.
And what else? So I think, Esther, do you want to try something?
Oh my God, yes. You know
what was your favorite pairing since we ate along the way?
I love these crackers and I love the cherry, so. And I put cheese on it.
Did you
know,
want
I love this truffle one.
Oh.
Yeah, so I will probably do truffle. I know I'm Latina. We like to eat everything, you know. So you don't really, yeah. So.
Excellent. Perfect. Looks good. Perfect. Thank you. Cool. And now we'll go to. Excellent. Thanks. So Margo, we'll come back to you now.
All right, so I'm going to take you.
There you go, Margo.
All right, we're going to go on a slight field trip because I didn't do this on the plate. I plated it on the cutting board. So we got to do like a little zoom in situation. So I have the roasted carrot dip, which if you think of as kind of hummusy texture, bunch of roasted carrots, maple syrup, olive oil, all kinds of goodies. And then our crispy scallion and sage pancakes with some really nice layers in there. You can see each individual layer with herbs and olive oil. And these guys are great at either room temperature or warm. The nice part is you can make this whole platter ahead, and then it can just kind of be hanging out for your guests, if and when guests are a thing again. Because right now it's probably just a party of 1 or 2. But
that's true. Excellent. Looks good, Margo. Thank you. And then we'll go to Dede, and then Anthony, and then we'll go Eddie last for dessert, like that. So Dede, what do you have?
Yeah, I have my roasted cauliflower and chickpeas, and then the pomegranate and herb gremolata. So just gonna garnish on the top, and I love these festival colors. The red and the green just really brightens up this dish. And then along with a little bit of garnishing, Malden sea salt, and you're ready to go. So super festive and ready for the holidays.
Excellent. Looks good. That's a nice close-up. Perfect. Thank you. And next we'll come back to Anthony.
All right, so I'm just coming out of the oven here.
Perfect timing.
Plate. And what I did now is reduced some of the syrup that ends up at the bottom. Reduce it. I'll strain it a little bit. And I'll give you a close up in a second. Here's how the gratin comes out. Beautiful. Has some macadamia nuts.
Nice layers.
I had a little bit of smoked paprika, and I reduced some of the syrup at the end, and I would serve it with some syrup. Around and fresh thyme.
There we go. Excellent. Thanks, Anthony. And now, Eddie, the tamales dessert.
Sure. So this is my finished product. It's the tamales that I've already got out of the corn husks, and I've drizzled them with, again, it's just melted chocolate chips with coconut milk And this is how they look inside. So when you open up your little gift, it's chocolate on the outside, and of course, double chocolate on the inside. So it's just
Wow.
absolutely delicious. It's like a cookie, but it's gluten free. It's fun to eat, fun to make. It's a really good recipe to work on with kids. This is one of the oldest forms of communal cooking in Mexico. So everybody got involved. Everybody did some part of tamales. And there are so many different variations of tamales all over Latin America. In Colombia, they have, I believe, there are tamales too, and maybe hallacas in Venezuela for sure. They're called pastelitos in Puerto Rico, but they're all really yummy.
Wow. That looks great. That looks great. Excellent. And then now the last piece here will come back to Seth with the tofurky. Is it ready or almost ready? Yes, it is.
It's ready. The nice thing is with the tofurky, it's already pre-cooked. So you're just really, with the ham and the tofurky, heating it up gently. And I've carved it here, and you can see in the center, there's the wild rice and brown rice stuffing. And this is so tender now, you can just cut it with a fork. And there's some good tofurky gravy on the market that I always love with the mashed potatoes and then with the tofurky. And for some reason, it's better even the next day if you have any leftovers that have been sitting in the fridge. I just devour them for a couple of days after eating the roast. But here's the Christmas roast with pomegranate and rosemary, and it's all carved up and ready to roll. I'm going to eat it for lunch.
Perfect. Excellent. Thanks. Yeah, so that was a good thing here. I know we only have a couple more minutes, and there were some great questions coming in with everything, but we'll actually, I know for the sake of time, I know we're going to be wrapping up here in a minute, but I definitely wanted to thank all of our viewers that were out there. A bunch of questions came in. It was very active. I wanted to thank all of you for your time. And then I actually just wanted to just pause real quick and just any final thoughts from any of you, and then we'll close.
I'd like to add something.
Yep.
Seth, I'm really excited to have shared this platform with you. When I heard you were going to be on here, I said, oh my gosh, I've got to do it. You've been a hero of mine since the beginning. And in fact, for Thanksgiving, we took off out of town because we wanted to get out of here, but to be safe, we ended up just going to Santa Barbara with a tofurky roast that I had already pre-cooked, took my mobile kitchen and cooked in the hotel room, and it went out and had a picnic at the park. So huge fan. Thank you.
Oh, thank you very much. That is the classic use of tofurky. If you're going somewhere and you're not sure what the menu will be, or if somebody's already cooking a meat-based thing, with tofurky, you bring it to a gathering that has both the turkey and the tofurky. The tofurky often goes first, and it's just a nice, gentle way to bring up conversations around food, and it's had 6 million plus conversations to date. And thank you very much for sharing that, Dede. I really appreciate it. And it's been a great joy of my life being part of the pioneering of plant-based foods in America. And to see where it is today is just breathtaking. Thanks to all of you guys for cooking such scrumptious things too today. It's really an honor to be sharing with actual chefs. I'm more of a, marketing guy.
Excellent.
But I love to cook tofurkeys, and I'll be cooking another one on Christmas Day.
Excellent. Oh, any other final thoughts from any of you? I have some final thoughts as well, but I wanted to give the floor to anybody else with any final thoughts.
I'd just like to say thank you, Larry, for putting this together, and absolutely agree. It was fun to cook together today and eat more plants. Make it fun, make it delicious, and always excited to learn more. So thank you.
Excellent. Oh.
Thank you, Larry. And thank you to all my co-chefs on this call. It was great cooking with you. A lot of fun.
Yeah,
Thank you.
Really fun. Cool.
Yeah.
All right.
Thank
So,
you, Larry.
so one quick admin thing for all of our viewers that are out there. I am looking at the little queue here. We do have a bunch of questions that we didn't get to. So here's what I'm thinking we do. I'll work with Sarah, but we'll transfer these questions over to our Instagram page. And then chefs will probably tag you on those. And that way it's an opportunity for you to get back with those questions there. This is great. Like there's a lot of good interest and engagement from our viewers. So that's what we'll do to make sure we take care of those questions there. But again, to wrap up just with our opening kickoff, the holidays, happy holidays to all of you chefs, as well as to all of those who are watching today. And this is just a good example of just how we can come together socially while remaining, distant physically for safety reasons because of the pandemic. But hopefully this was a great way to, learn different things about how to cook a variety of different dishes here for the holidays. So with that, I want to say thank you all for your time and thanks for tuning in.
Yes, thank you, Seth,
Thank
and
you.
everyone else, Larry, Sarah. This was great. Happy holidays, everyone. And eating plant-based is fun.
My conditions.
Happy holidays, everyone.
Yes. Happy holidays.